Good morning, guys, and welcome to the podcast from San Juan, Puerto Rico. I have Zach Zeller, and he is an email marketing strategist. I'm really excited to have him on. He teaches clients how to turn email lists into predictable profits in under 90 days. A lot of the listeners and viewers are doctor, lawyer, dentist, the old school. They rely on emails, blogging, SEO. So I'm really happy to have him on to see how he can add value. So, Zach, welcome.
Yeah, thanks. I'm super excited.
Yeah. Briefly chronicle your journey and how you got to be doing what you're doing now.
Yeah, so I actually am a former engineer turned digital marketer. And it's really interesting because over the past maybe 15 years, business, especially for professional services like doctors, lawyers, and all of that, has been pushed more and more online with funnels and then COVID and the rise of social media. But the problem that I notice is as everything explodes online, there's this arms race of skepticism and trying to be louder in the market. So, like, I'll talk to one of my clients who's a podiatrist, and he'll show me or send me TikToks of they're not doctors, but people talking about medical issues, and they're not trapped by compliance or they're just focused more on going viral and being entertaining than being correct. And it's really tough to be in that environment and almost feel like your authority is overshadowed by a lot of these loud, obnoxious marketing methods. So I had my background in a lot of the old school direct response marketing and had the opportunity to work with people like Jay Shetty, like Les Brown, like Jordan Belfort to help them with client acquisition and stand out on social media, and then turn around and say, hey, a lot of this high volume game isn't very sustainable. And that focusing on your authority and really working with tactically an email list or a book is a really simple way without a lot of moving parts that you can stand out, have a lot of opportunity to sell and monetize attention, but without having to have a large social media presence or even a big team helping you with that.
Interesting. Yeah. And one thing I love to ask is because we're a business entrepreneurship podcast, we showcase businesses, brands, entrepreneurs, and your ideal client avatar. What is their pain point or frustration, or what is their aspiration or desire to get them to pay money to come and work with you?
Yeah. The biggest audience that I work with right now are really authors. So it's a mix of business types. Like I talked about my podiatrist client. I have some big social media coaches and consultants. I also work with people who are in the agent space all over the place. The main thing that unites them is they have a business that's working and they want to get more clients for it. A lot of them use a book for that. And so when I talk with people, their problem is how do we get in front of people on social media? How do I keep up with all of these ways and AI tools and a lot of the tactics that are super visible and do work, but unfortunately end up distracting business owners from actually building and growing their business.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they're really aspiring to have a durable, lasting business with a simple, high leverage marketing system. And that's what I help them with.
Yeah, interesting. And so to continue the conversation, one thing that I realize is because we have email marketing, we have a blog, and a lot of times I think like email is fine because it's like a Rolodex, but I feel like blogging is dead because like you've got TikTok and everybody's on Instagram and Facebook, and now you've got like LinkedIn and YouTube and podcasts. So how does this, like a doctor, lawyer, dentist, obviously their time is valuable and they don't have time to be on these, and how do they know that their time is valuable if they write a blog post when you've got like these million views on Instagram, and how do they know their content is being seen and algorithms are down regulating their content? How do you navigate this?
Yeah. So the two those that's a very tactical kind of interpretation of, okay, there's Instagram, there's LinkedIn, there's all this stuff. From a principle first standpoint, what you want to do is get in front of the right people that you can help. And so when it comes to content, it doesn't necessarily matter if you're on Instagram or LinkedIn or blogging.
Mm,
What I would say matters the most is your affinity for the platform,
mm,
so you can stay consistent and put high quality stuff out,
yeah. Yeah.
and how you can be discoverable. So if you're a lawyer and someone's getting a divorce, the first thing they're going to do is they're not going to go to YouTube. They're not going to search on Instagram. They're probably going to go to Google and see, okay, what do I do about my divorce? Maybe they'll even go to Amazon to find a book or some self help stuff. There's a famous book called Stop Your Divorce that did really well based off of people searching for it.
Mm,
But you're not going to get a lot of clients producing content on Instagram about what to do in divorce, because that kind of pops up and interrupts people in their life.
mm,
So that's what I would say. And it really comes down to the other thing I talk to a lot of people about is what their affinity is for content.
mm,
So there are a lot of people who are very good at expressing themselves in writing. I wouldn't necessarily tell those people to jump on a podcast right away. I would say start with LinkedIn, start with blog posts, use that, see what works, because you can see what drives the most traffic or what gets the most response.
mm,
And then you could turn that, you could just read off of that and create a podcast. You
mhm,
could record that and have a video. And that transmutation of content works in any direction. If you're a doctor talking with patients all day and you could easily verbally process some content, turn it into a podcast. If you record yourself doing that or put some b-roll or some animations, whatever it is behind it, that becomes a YouTube video. You transcribe it, you have a blog post, and that allows you to get a high frequency of touch points to the marketplace without creating and slogging through all the content yourself, or worse, completely abdicating and leaving your content strategy in the hands of someone who messages you randomly on LinkedIn and says, I'll give you 30 videos for $20, or basically takes you completely out of the content equation.
Yeah, because I was having lunch with one of my close friends the other day, and he was describing to me because he loves solo videos where he's giving like really good, or and he also loves doing webinars
Mhm.
and he loves blogging, but he feels a lot of his content and his efforts are not scalable. So he's doing like he's doing these podcasts with just to get awareness and recognition and he's posting it on LinkedIn and live streams, but his when he's building like his email list and his like the real stuff that he feels valuable, but he feels like he's getting he feels like he has to spend a lot of time on these marketing efforts. So how do you reconcile that?
Yeah, I think so. Part of it is almost, it plays into imposter syndrome
Mhm,
of, I have this idea of what I want my marketing to be, and I want it to be amazing. But the truth is that amazing content doesn't exist. There's only real content, and you're going to have to create it and put it into a post or video or whatever. And there's always going to be ways you can improve it,
mhm,
but you're creating content to help an audience. And if you just end up chasing your tail the whole time, it's never going to get out there and it's never going to connect with people. And further, what's even more surprising is a lot of the times you'll create content and maybe think it's the best thing in the world, but people will just pass by it. And the stuff that you thought was your rough draft will resonate the most. I've seen that in my writing where sometimes it's overly polished and
mm,
it doesn't connect and it doesn't get to the point in a really strong emotional way. And
Yeah,
so it passes like a ship in the night.
interesting. The other dilemma is because when he's building his email list, he doesn't feel like he's one thing is because again, he's getting overshadowed by social media, so a lot of his content, like, he'll put in the link to subscribe to his newsletter or his email list, and not people don't subscribe, but they love his posts, they love his live streams, they love his YouTube channel, but people are not getting onto his email list, so what's the problem there?
Yeah. So with that, I always look at the incentives.
Mm,
So you're creating content, people are resonating with it, but they're not going forward into the email list. And a lot of this, especially today more than ever, is because we're entering this second golden age of marketing, what I call it. And the significance of that is your marketing today has to be valuable, not just in terms of making it tactically useful,
mm,
but it needs to be in the way your audience likes to consume it too.
mhm,
So if what's working is you're doing lives and people really enjoy that, maybe what you can do is your email list can give access to maybe a bonus live once a month where you just go live for your email community,
mm,
or you have recorded other content or extended content. I know a lot of people on YouTube or Patreon do that because again, it's you're going from video to more video.
mhm,
And that
mhm,
might be difficult going from video to more email and changing the medium and changing how the value is consumed. The
mm.
good thing with email is in marketing, the simple way to look at it is you're building fences and ladders, doing a really good job with your front end content on social media. And that builds a little bit of a fence, or you're getting people to stand in front of you at least. And what you want to do is have a way for them to climb that ladder to get closer to you, get another step to you. And that's where your email list is going to be. And that's super important, especially if you're a service provider, because on social media, people are window shopping. You don't have any way to identify them. You don't have any way to follow up or continue that conversation. But if you can give them a reason to join your email list, the whole point is you're giving them value and moving them closer to being a client or working with you. So that email becomes a way where you can have repeat conversation without the other noise of everyone else posting on their algorithm or on their feed to get more intimate and get more touch points with them.
Interesting. And we talked about, obviously there's a lot of tactics for getting people onto your email list. And then what's the biggest mistake with how people monetize their email list? Because again, I know this, again, my friend, he uses the client email list, but it's used to and he's growing it, albeit slowly, and he'll have offers or he has, but people aren't buying from him. So what's the problem if he can't generate money from an email list? What's going on there?
Yeah, the biggest thing is going to be how you get people on your list. So I work with people right now. The first step in my business is turning your book into a premium client in 45 days without launching, without ads, without any of that stuff. Because if we can get your book in the hands of the right people, typically they're going to be a buyer with the way that I do it. They're a buyer, which
Mhm.
means they've already traded you money to get more information from you. And
Right.
psychologically, that's huge because oh man, I could tell you stories of influencers who have hundreds of thousands, even millions of followers, but they're not making any money
Yeah.
because their audience is so used to free content. Their
Yeah.
audience is used to, hey, this is the guy. I watch his videos or hit him up just to figure this out and then go and buy from someone else, essentially. It's like the friend zone of being an expert. And the difference is you get people to buy before they get on your list or frame it in a way where it feels like you're doing them a huge favor to
Mm.
get on your list. Then every touch point after that is going to have that reflection. And it's almost a cliche, but the classic way they explain this in marketing is you want to come across as that wise man on the hill, not the guy at the bottom where it's super easy to get to. And especially as a service provider, like you've been through the schooling, you may have been through some kind of internship or apprenticing phase even after the schooling. And it's a really long road to build up your expertise, which is why you can charge such high prices for one-on-one work and all this stuff. But when you go into the online space, all of that falls away because your customers can't necessarily see all that, and they don't necessarily even care about it if you have a compelling reason why they shouldn't. It kind
Mm,
of that I learned law on the streets feel, or I learned this on the streets and it works, even though it's not super polished. So building that back up with your marketing and your positioning is really important if you want to make sales and have your email list and your online processes work as well as your in-person processes.
interesting. Yeah, there's so much we could talk about, and this is just a tip of the iceberg. If people listening to this wanted to connect with you and find out more about you, how could they do that?
Yeah, so I actually put together a book called Email Cash Flow that you can get at fixyourlist.com. And
Mhm.
that'll go over the three formats of emails that I found to be most profitable for my clients.
Yeah,
And you can use those to model your own emails, send them on repeat every week because they're winning hits, and get a lot of great results out of them. Also, I'm active on LinkedIn at Zach Zeller 22, and you can contact me there.
excellent. I really enjoyed this conversation and a lot of valuable nuggets. And for the audience, Zach's links will be in the show notes, and be sure to give him a like and follow. And thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for having me.